This is our battle grid. Each square represents 5 feet by 5 feet. It's only used in combat. Outside of combat, it is presumable that you are capable of taking up less space than a full 5 foot by 5 foot. But once you enter into combat, any small-sized creature, like a gnome, a goblin, or a halfling, or any medium-sized creature, like a dwarf, a human, or a half-orc, does require a full 5 foot square on the grid in order to function. So you're a dwarf. You're going about your business doing your daily dwarfy things, when suddenly a new challenger appears. You've been caught unawares. You're not currently armed, and therefore you don't threaten any square. It doesn't matter what the opponent is doing, if they're casting a spell, if they're moving, it doesn't matter. They've successfully moved into position, they are now 5 feet away, and it's your turn. You draw your weapon. You are now armed, and you are considered to threaten everything within 5 feet. This is standard for weapons such as uragoshes, swords, daggers, maces, etc. The red squares represent your threat range. If an enemy is within your threat range, they provoke attacks of opportunity when they make unarmed strikes. These are things like punches, kicks, elbows, etc. The exception is monks, who can treat their fists as manufactured weapons, and creatures who rely on natural weapons. So basically, if you're a person, you're expected to be armed, so if you're not using some kind of manufactured weapon, you provoke an attack of opportunity when you make a melee attack. If you're not a person, if you're an animal like a tiger, or if you're a magical beast like a dragon, you're always considered armed with your natural weapons, and so you never provoke attacks of opportunity from making a melee attack. An enemy making any kind of ranged attack also provokes attacks of opportunity. This includes throwing hammers, shuriken, dagger, bows, crossbows. If they make a ranged attack while they're within a red square, you get to bash their face. Speaking of crossbows, loading a crossbow, any kind of crossbow, also provokes attacks of opportunity. If an enemy is in a red square, and they try standing up, reading from a scroll, or drinking a potion, they provoke attacks of opportunity. And of course, if they are in a red square and they attempt to cast a spell, with a standard action casting time or longer, they provoke attacks of opportunity. This is particularly important because this gives you a chance to force them to make a concentration check if you hit, which could cause them to not only lose hit points, but also lose the spell that they're trying to cast. So in this example, your enemy is starting out 20 feet away. They move up to you. Even though you are armed with a manufactured weapon, them moving into a red square does absolutely nothing. You do not get an attack of opportunity. Now, on the other hand, if your enemy moves out of a threatened square, out of one of these red squares, that is when they do provoke an attack of opportunity. As they're moving away, they are not capable of properly defending themselves, and so their guard is down, and that gives you a chance to smack them in the face. This new enemy decides to approach so that he can also engage you in melee. He can either move 10 feet or 15 feet, but either way, he's moving into a threatened square. This does not provoke an attack of opportunity. However, if instead of moving 15 feet, he moved 20 feet to this red square, that would provoke an attack of opportunity. Because the first red square he entered, he would have to leave. And anytime you leave a red square, you provoke an attack of opportunity. So, in summation, if you are in a threatened square and you try to move out, it doesn't matter where you're going. It doesn't matter if you're going into another threatened square. It doesn't matter if you're going into a 20-foot drop. It doesn't matter if you're going into a non-threatened square. As soon as you're in a threatened square and you try to move out, you provoke an attack of opportunity. Now, there are ways around this. If all you're doing is taking a 5-foot step, 5-foot step is a type of action. If all you're doing is taking a 5-foot step, you do not provoke an attack of opportunity. If you have a sufficient tumble skill, you can make a tumble check to try to tumble and not make attacks of opportunity. And of course, there are ways to increase your threat range. If you equipped a weapon with reach, such as a long spear or a halberd or a lance, then you get 10 feet of reach instead of 5 feet. This means that someone trying to get up close to you is going to provoke an attack of opportunity before they're in melee. So yeah, this has been a video on attacks of opportunity and on reach for 3.5. Hopefully it's helped out Michelle a bit. It's possible that she already had it down by the point that I made this, but I know initially she was struggling with when attacks of opportunity were provoked, so I decided to make this video. So take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and I'll see you next time.